The story begins in the quiet hills of Lynchburg, Virginia. Young Desmond Doss is a spirited boy growing up with his older brother Hal, his gentle mother Bertha, and his troubled father Tom. One day in 1929, a playful fight between the boys goes horribly wrong. Desmond picks up a brick and strikes Hal in a burst of anger, knocking his brother out cold. For a terrible moment, Desmond thinks he's killed Hal. The sight of his motionless brother and the horror of what he's done shakes him to the core. Raised in a devout Seventh-day Adventist home, Desmond has been taught the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," and now he truly understands it. With tears in his eyes, he vows never to harm anyone again. That close call cements in Desmond a sacred promise. He will never take a life. As the years pass, Desmond grows into a kind, soft-spoken young man with an iron conviction. Yet home is far from peaceful. Tom Doss, Desmond's father, is a World War I veteran, haunted by memories of battle. He often drinks to drown his pain and can turn violent. One night, Tom comes home in a drunken rage and starts to attack Desmond's mother. Desmond leaps in to protect her, and Tom pulls out a gun. In the struggle, Desmond wrestles the firearm away and suddenly finds himself aiming it at his own father. His hands tremble on the trigger as anger and fear surge through him. But Desmond cannot pull the trigger. He lowers the gun, overcome by shame and relief. In that moment, he realizes how close he came to breaking his vow. The memory of nearly shooting his father sears itself into Desmond's soul, strengthening his resolve to never touch a weapon again. Not long after, Desmond's life finds new light. While bringing an injured man to the hospital, he meets a nurse named Dorothy Shute. Dorothy is compassionate, strong, and has a smile that eases Desmond's shy heart. He is instantly drawn to her warmth. They share an innocent, heartfelt connection from the very start. Desmond is awkward but earnest in courting her, bringing flowers, attending church together, and talking for hours about life and faith. Dorothy sees the goodness in Desmond and admires his gentle, unwavering principles. As their love blossoms, she encourages his interest in medicine. Desmond confides his dreams of helping people, and Dorothy becomes both his sweetheart and his biggest supporter. She gives him a small Bible as a token of faith and a reminder of her love, a gift Desmond cherishes deeply. But the world around them is changing. A shocking attack shatters the peace. Pearl Harbor is bombed by the Japanese. The United States is thrust into World War II. Desmond, like many young men, feels a duty to serve his country. He knows he cannot pick up a rifle, but he believes he can save lives as an Army medic. With Dorothy by his side, he makes the fateful decision to enlist. When Desmond announces his plans, his father erupts in anger and fear. Tom cannot bear the thought of his son going to war. He shouts that Desmond will be throwing his life away, all while grappling with his own war scars. Desmond gently but firmly stands his ground. He wants to serve, but on his own terms. Though Tom is furious, Desmond's mind is set and his faith unshaken. Before Desmond leaves for boot camp, he asks Dorothy to marry him. He doesn't want to face the coming storm without knowing she'll be waiting for him on the other side. Dorothy joyfully accepts. They promise each other that no matter what happens, their love will endure. With a tender farewell kiss, Desmond departs for Army training. In his duffel bag, he carries two precious items: Dorothy's Bible and his steadfast conviction. Whatever lies ahead on the battlefield, Desmond Doss is determined to uphold his promise to God and to himself. He will save lives, and he will not kill. At Army boot camp, Desmond enters a harsh new world of discipline under Sergeant Howell. He impresses everyone with his physical strength and endurance. But when ordered to pick up a rifle, Desmond quietly refuses. His superiors are stunned. No recruit has ever flatly rejected a direct order like this. Desmond explains he won't touch a weapon or train on Saturdays due to his faith. The Army has no idea what to do with a soldier who won't shoot. His fellow trainees turn on him, calling him coward and shunning him. One hardened recruit named Smitty Riker bullies Desmond relentlessly. Sergeant Howell and Captain Jack Glover try to have him discharged for psychiatric reasons, a Section 8. But the evaluation finds Desmond perfectly sane. His moral stance, however unusual, isn't a mental illness, so the Army is forced to keep him. Determined to make Desmond quit, the officers assign him brutal extra duties. He hauls heavy gear, cleans latrines, and does endless drills on his own. At night, some enraged soldiers gang up on him in the barracks and beat him savagely. Desmond endures the attack without fighting back. In the morning, bruised and hurting, he still refuses to name his attackers. This stubborn integrity earns a grudging respect from a few of the men. They see that Desmond may be stubborn, but he's no coward. Despite everything, Desmond makes it through basic training. His unit prepares to deploy to the Pacific, and he plans to marry Dorothy during a short leave. But before they can leave base, the Army tries one more time to break his resolve. During a weapons drill, Desmond again will not touch a rifle, and this time, he's immediately arrested for insubordination. Instead of a wedding, Desmond finds himself sitting in a jail cell as Dorothy waits anxiously. She visits him, heartbroken that their wedding is postponed. Dorothy begs Desmond to just sign a form saying he'll obey orders so he can be released. With tears in his eyes, Desmond tells her he cannot compromise his beliefs, not even for her. Dorothy understands, but it's a painful goodbye through the bars of a cell. At Desmond's court-martial, the military judges are poised to make an example of him. They question his refusal and seem ready to send him to prison. Suddenly, the courtroom doors swing open. In walks Tom Doss, Desmond's father, wearing his old Army uniform. He hands the tribunal a letter from a brigadier general, an order stating that Desmond's pacifism is protected by the U.S. Constitution. The stunned judges have no choice but to drop the charges. Desmond is free. In that triumphant moment, father and son share a brief, emotional glance. Tom's last-minute intervention has saved Desmond's military career. Desmond stands stunned, eyes welling with gratitude. The man who once raged against him going to war has now become his unexpected savior. Soon after, Desmond and Dorothy finally marry in a small ceremony. There's no time for a honeymoon. Within days, Desmond ships out with his unit to the war in the Pacific. Dorothy fights back tears as she watches the man she loves head off to war. Not long after, Desmond boards a troop ship bound for the Pacific. Their destination, the island of Okinawa, where one of the war's bloodiest battles is about to unfold. Desmond's unit arrives at Okinawa, where one of the war's bloodiest battles rages. Their objective is a 400-foot cliff called the Maeda Escarpment, nicknamed Hacksaw Ridge. Atop that cliff, Japanese soldiers are dug in, and the ground is already soaked with blood. Desmond and his comrades know it's a deadly mission. They must climb up and take that ridge. Under fire from above, Desmond's company climbs cargo nets to reach the summit. At the top, they step into hell on Earth.
I can't see nothing! Come with me! Come with me!
The plateau is a wasteland of mud and smoke, littered with broken artillery and countless bodies. The stench of death hits them immediately. Desmond's stomach turns at the sight of fallen Americans and Japanese everywhere. The battle for Hacksaw Ridge has begun. Without warning, enemy gunfire and explosions erupt from the tree line. The Japanese defenders attack with ferocious force. Bullets rip through the air and mortar shells blast the ground. Amid the chaos, Desmond springs into action. He darts from one wounded man to the next, bandaging bloody wounds and dragging soldiers to cover. At times, he even shields men with his own body. All around him, comrades are cut down, but Desmond refuses to seek shelter. He works tirelessly to save lives, never once picking up a weapon. In the midst of this carnage, Desmond spots Smitty, the very soldier who tormented him in training, lying in the open, wounded and helpless. Smitty is bleeding badly and unable to move. Desmond doesn't hesitate. Ignoring the bullets whining past, he hoists Smitty over his shoulder and dashes through a gauntlet of gunfire. Miraculously, he makes it to a ditch with Smitty, stanches his bleeding, and quickly bandages his wounds. Smitty is astonished that Desmond would risk his life to save him. At that moment, Smitty realizes the medic's true courage and gains a deep respect for Desmond. Night falls at Hacksaw Ridge, bringing a brief lull in the fighting. In a foxhole, Desmond and Smitty catch their breath. Smitty, still shaken, thanks Desmond for saving his life and apologizes for calling him a coward before. Desmond nods, bearing no grudge. When Smitty asks what drives Desmond's refusal to carry a gun, Desmond finally opens up. He confides that as a young man, he almost shot his own father during a drunken altercation when his father threatened his mother. Ever since that day, Desmond vowed never to touch a firearm. Smitty falls silent, realizing the weight of that promise. He admits he's never met anyone as brave. At dawn, the Japanese launch a massive counterattack. Enemy troops pour out of hidden tunnels and overwhelm the American lines. Explosions and gunfire erupt from every direction. Amid the chaos, Desmond sees Smitty trying to limp to safety. A grenade blasts nearby, and Smitty is killed instantly right before Desmond's eyes. And Desmond is heartbroken. But there's no time to mourn. The order comes to retreat. U.S. troops scramble back toward the cliff, trying to climb down the cargo nets to escape. It's utter pandemonium. Men are running, shouting, and dying all around. In the mad scramble, dozens of wounded American soldiers are left scattered on the battlefield, too injured to move.
Here's Desmond.
As the last healthy Americans slip over the cliff's edge to safety, Desmond turns back toward the battlefield, alone. He resolves then and there to save as many wounded men as he can, or die trying. Night has fallen, and Desmond is the only American left on top of Hacksaw Ridge. The battlefield is eerily quiet except for the cries of wounded men echoing in the dark. Heart-pounding, Desmond sneaks from one mangled soldier to the next, checking for anyone still alive. He carries each wounded soldier he finds to the cliff's edge and slowly lowers them down with a rope sling. Below, the medics watch in astonishment as, one by one, injured men are lowered to safety by an unseen savior. Running on adrenaline and faith, Desmond whispers, "Lord, help me get one more." After each rescue, ignoring his own cuts and exhaustion, he plunges back into the hellscape over and over. He hoists wounded soldiers onto his back, crawls through mud and rubble, and lowers them down to safety. Every life he saves gives him just enough hope to try for another. On the ground, Desmond's fellow soldiers stare in disbelief as dozens of wounded are lowered to safety. Word quickly spreads that it's Doss up there alone, performing a one-man rescue. The men who once mocked him now watch with awe and gratitude. By dawn, Desmond has rescued dozens of men. He finds Sergeant Howell alive but badly wounded. Summoning his last strength, Desmond lifts Howell and carries him to the cliff edge. He ties the rope sling around the sergeant and starts lowering him. The Japanese spot them and open fire. Desmond holds on tight until Howell reaches the ground safely. A bullet grazes Desmond's side and shrapnel cuts his leg, but he refuses to let go. Only after getting everyone else down does Desmond lower himself. He collapses at the bottom, utterly exhausted, but miraculously alive. In that one night, Desmond Doss saved approximately 75 men without ever firing a shot. Captain Glover quietly apologizes for ever doubting him.
We're wrong about someone in my life. We have to go back up tomorrow.
The next day's assault is scheduled for Saturday, but Glover vows they won't attack without Doss. In fact, the entire unit waits until Desmond finishes his Sabbath prayers before climbing back up to resume the fight. With Desmond by their side, the Americans push forward and finally capture Hacksaw Ridge. In a last act of desperation, some Japanese soldiers pretend to surrender, then suddenly throw grenades at the advancing Americans. One grenade lands close to Desmond and his squad. Desmond lunges and kicks it away. It explodes, and the blast riddles him with shrapnel. He is badly wounded, but his quick action saves those around him. The remaining enemy is overcome, and the battle is won. As the smoke clears, Desmond is barely conscious and badly hurt. His comrades gently lower him down the cliff on a stretcher, with Dorothy's Bible still clutched in his hand. The men who once ridiculed him now regard him with awe, realizing he was the bravest of them all. Desmond Doss is later awarded the Medal of Honor by President Harry S. Truman for his extraordinary bravery, credited with saving 75 lives on Hacksaw Ridge. In the film's epilogue, real footage of the elderly Desmond Doss recounting his experience reminds us that this incredible story of faith and courage was true, a testament to one man's unwavering conviction.